My name is Dr. Kimbra Smith. I'm a cultural and applied anthropologist. And that means I do both theoretical and applied community-based work. So my theoretical research focuses mostly on empathy and different kinds of persistent inequalities in society. And my applied work tends to look at how different communities can make effective shifts toward equity and away from different kinds of discrimination or fear of people, unlike members of the community, fear of what we would call the other. My research is, I do research projects in both the United States and South America. I've also done some in Spain. I can talk a little bit about a couple of projects I'm currently directing. The first one is local. It's called Revealing Invisible Histories of Colorado Springs. It's an applied community-based project, and I'm working with local community members to create a set of public resources that reflect and tell the story of our interconnected histories. How our city, how Colorado Springs came to be what it is through the interactions of all of our diverse community members. So we're developing a set of publicly available interactive experiences, and some of those will be virtual and some of those will be located downtown in other parts of the city and the community. And the goal is to help tell those stories, to get people interested in those stories, and ultimately to increase empathy and a sense of community through that shared history. And the second project has to do with recent research on neuroplasticity, which is the ability for the human brain to process information that's input into our brains along different pathways, which can potentially lead to different responses. So again, I'm interested in empathy. And one of the things I've been looking at is whether we can use embodied practices like interactive theater, for example, as ways of kind of retraining the brain to process input information along different routes and produce different responses. And one of the reasons I've been engaging in this, it was sparked by a lot of the police violence, for example, or violent responses to situations that provoke fear. And part of the reason we respond that way is our bodies respond without our brains really getting involved. So, diversity training often focuses on our conscious, verbalizable thought processes. And when we're in situations where we're afraid, we respond with our bodies. So can we use theater to train our brains to process that fear along a different route that we are consciously responsible for? So something people might be interested in knowing about applied anthropology in particular, it's a way of using anthropology, which is just the study of humans, to work directly with communities who are affected by everyday issues. So it provides us a space to amplify voices of people who are directly affected by different societal issues. It allows us to work with people as opposed to, studying someone else. We're studying a conversation, an issue, a process with people who are affected by that process. I chose UCCS because of the sense of community I felt in the interview. And even though it has grown exponentially since I got here in 2006, I think what I like about it is there's still an emphasis on collaborating with people across disciplinary boundaries. Most of my work is interdisciplinary. It's a place where I feel like students genuinely care about what they're learning, faculty genuinely care about their students. So it's, there's support for doing community-based research. So yeah, just all the connections and all the human interactions. I will say I am, to give an example of applied anthropology, besides this local project, with an indigenous community in Ecuador that isn't recognized, I've been working with them for almost a decade now, collecting genealogical, historical, archaeological, different kinds of information. And we're putting together a novel that kind of distills all of that into a shared history of the whole valley. So, and I'm writing it in Spanish. So, yeah, that's another project.